Hybrid Fitness Report is sponsored by Wadleet, a UK-based sports apparel company. Wadleet's designs come from a love of functional fitness, helping you to build strength, mobility, stability, and endurance while staying comfortable in what you wear. So from performance base layers to changing robes, from gym shorts to hoodies, and training socks to track jackets, Wadleet have got you covered. Head to wadleet.co.uk, that's WODLETE.co.uk, with free delivery on all UK orders over £50 and worldwide shipping available.
Hello and welcome to Hybrid Fitness Report. It's great to have Adam Smith from FlatOut back on again. Adam, how are you doing?
Yeah, very well, thank you, gents. Good to see you again.
Good. We last spoke earlier this year when you were looking forward and planning and getting ready for your first big event of the year, which was at the Saxon hangar at Norwich Airfield. That happened just the other week. How did it all go?
Yeah, it was really good, thank you. We had great weather, which is always a good start. We were sold out as a capacity, which is really good considering that's our third event that we've been running the format with. Having only started in May last year, we had a separate event in October last year as well at a different venue. So we're returning back to Saxon Air this year in April, and we sold out, which is just great news that just people want to come and enjoy fitness. So it was great, really good. We had a couple of issues that I'm happy to kind of talk about and go through with you.
Leading into that, how about you just give us another quick rundown of the format of the event? Yeah. So hybrid fitness races tend to follow a standard pattern in the sense of it's typically run, functional station, run, functional station. Just break it down for us again, if you would have.
Of course. Yeah. So the easiest way to describe FlatOut for people in that hybrid fitness space who already know Hyrox is other people describe ourselves as half a Hyrox. The idea is that it follows the same similar in the same way of 8 zones, but we have half the running distance, so it's 500 meters, not a kilometer. The idea is that it makes it more achievable for people who want to come into fitness and who feel that they probably can't do the full 8K running. But in terms of the breakdown, we have slightly lesser weights than Hyrox. So we have our first zone, so it's bookend. So you run the first 500 meters. You then go into ski erg, which is 1.2 kilometers. Then do the 500 meters again. Zone 2 is kettlebell squats, and they're different weights for the different categories. Zone 3 is the bike erg, and we have 2.5 kilometers for that. After that, we have chest to floor. This isn't a burpee broad jump because we're eliminating the jump. So this is literally 50 reps of chest to floor, move forward 1, down again. Then we have the row erg, 1.2, again, 100 meters farmer carry, a 100 meter weighted lunge for zone 7, and then 100 reps of ground to overhead with the weighted plate, and then a short run to the finish.
With the ergs, I noticed they're longer than I've seen before. Why 1.2, 2.5?
We felt that with bringing the weights down, we wanted people to have a format that is approximately an hour. So bringing the weights down in the other zones, we found that some people were doing that quicker. So what we wanted to do is let people have the full experience and spend a bit longer on the ergs, rather than just flying through all of the zones and doing the event super quick.
When you say that, do you mean an hour for him or an hour for me?
Well, so I would say that Jude would be in the pro category. So what we've tried to do is try to be inclusive as much as possible. So Jude would be in the pro category and he would be wearing a 10K weighted vest.
Right.
And we have the open category, which obviously doesn't have the weighted vest.
We have our own, I think I like to call it an integrated 10K vest.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we have these different formats, and the idea of that kind of or the categories is we want, as I say, we want to be inclusive as much as possible. Even the relay. So relay is there primarily for corporate people coming into fitness, people also carrying an injury that prevents them, say, doing an arm exercise, but they can do something else, for instance, and then all the way up to pro.
Obviously, some people have started to now, but I don't notice a lot of people training with weighted vests. So have you noticed that compromise people in a way that they weren't sort of expecting, like when they're running? Because doing anything dynamic in a weighted vest, I've only aggressive walks or stair stepper or small jumps in a weighted vest. I've never even trained anything above that. So is that sort of that's what people sort of catch people out? Would you notice?
So we have had a few pros who've come along to the event and said, I didn't know I was wearing a weighted vest. I mean, we do have our comms. It is on our website. It's part of the ticket. We've put a checkbox now. So when people buy a pro ticket, they check that they're wearing a weighted vest. Yeah, I think that aside, I think it does catch people out a little bit. But again, though, we're finding with our pros that they don't really care to a certain extent, because, and you must recognize this, Jude, like, as in the pro category, you don't care. You just want to beat the person next to you. I could put a 50k weighted vest on if there was such a thing, and you'd still have a go. And
on a level playing field, 100%, that makes sense. Just
and that's what we find, that's what we're trying to do for the remaining categories. As I say, we want to be inclusive, but by being inclusive tends to mean restrictions, and not having that pro category would probably turn you off to the event entirely. So having that pro category and allowing you to try and beat each other and just go for it competitively, then brings that inclusive element into it. As I say, people talk about inclusivity as a 46-year-old man can't do certain things, but then by doing that, you then exclude the pros. So we wanted to think of a way to actually include everyone into it.
Was there a station that stood out? Like, for example, in High Rocks, it's probably the burpees, and Deadly Dozen, it might be the bear crawl. Was there one station that you found people from your event that we'll lead on to after this found particularly or unexpectedly difficult?
Our ground to overhead is one that people kind of talk about. And in fact, for our pro category, we are going to change the weight for ground to overhead for pros, because they're already wearing a 10k weighted vest. Having a 20 kilo plate as well means that's obviously like 30 kilo going up and down. It can be quite challenging. But I think in our format, by the time you get to zone 8, you kind of want to not just finish, but you're close to the finish line now, and we've got 100 reps. It does take some time to get through that. And it's, as with the way that we do our format, is we put lines out. So you do 2 reps, move forward, 2 reps, move forward. There's a few reasons for that. One is it eliminates counting. Everyone should be able to count up to 2. It puts in a proper standard in terms of, each time you're resetting, you move forward, you reset, do another. But by doing all of that, it then makes that zone perhaps longer than some of the other zones. So I feel like we make people work hard for that last zone. And, and that's the bit, like when people finish, that's the bit they're like, oh, that ground to overhead was really difficult. But then later on, they'll say that they really enjoyed that, like the whole format, but they'll talk about the ground to overhead.
That's sort of what I noticed when I think we went to the games a few years ago, and one of the I think it's great for spectatorship first and foremost with that whole progression thing, because it's sort of, you see that in CrossFit, right? Sometimes in the games they'll have athletes where they do like a snatch ladder or a clean and jerk ladder where they do X amount of reps, and every X amount of reps they'll move up 5 meters to the next line. It just shows sort of in real time where athletes are in the field. So I think that element of it is really, really good, instead of just having it in the static position.
Yeah, thank you. And that is another thing that we purposely wanted to do as well. We noticed with, say, the wall balls in for High Rocks, the people next to you, I only do it as doubles, I don't do it as open, but the people, like when you glance over to the screen next to you, you can probably see that, but it doesn't give you a feeling of the rest of the field. You by doing the way that we do it, for the spectators, for the participants, you really get that spectacle. You know who's in front of you and who's behind you at that point.
Yeah, like that's that was one of the biggest criticisms when they started to gain a lot of traction was at the end, you'd have, even now, like in the elite field, you'll have people complaining because you've got someone who's had zero camera time for the entire race, and you'll only see them come in like second, third, or first at the very end when they run past everyone else because no one's been aware that they're ahead of everyone else. So that's why I think hybrid games, that's part of the reason that hybrid games introduced that 200-meter sprint at the end, because it creates that, oh, he's now in the lead, sort of not just about camera time, but just about following the race in general. Again, coming back to the sort of spectatorship side of things, is that you know exactly where people are. And it's not just, 3 seconds of, it's, James Kelly who's just, taken second place. It's, he's been there from the start of that station, but no one's known about it.
That's right. I think with our visual of the ground overhead, you have that straight away. But then you have the people running off and crossing the finish line. You have that, that euphoric finish line experience. We have MCs at our finish line and photographers. So you get that whole experience as you finish, because that's just as important as the start and throughout the rest of it. You need to feel like you've finished something.
So how did it all go then, Saxon Hangar? I mean, you were in the car park last year.
Correct.
And you upgraded to a hangar this year. So this is a new venue, but one you've been looking forward to for a while. What were the dynamics like? How did it go?
Yeah, so that we started at the hangar. That was our first venture of doing it. We did that in April last year. We went to a multi-story car park in October, and the idea there is to ensure that all of the equipment was covered and secure for the weather. Unfortunately, it was a really nice day that day as well, actually. But yeah, we went back to the hangar. It's a different experience, and I think we've talked before about how you go to different races, you get the different experience. We're really keen on having unique experience, that whole immersive feeling. We don't want to just go to, say, the XL Arena. And I think I mentioned to you before about Las Vegas. Just a conference center doesn't feel great. But going to Saxon Air, where you've got helicopters and aeroplanes taking off all day long, when you run next to a live airport and you've got these big aircraft taxiing, ferrying, taking off, landing, it creates a different dynamic and a different experience. But yeah, so I've told you the really good things, like the great presence, the great atmosphere. We were sold out. We had lots of great people there. Weather was amazing. But we had probably, it was like two big problems that I'd say. So one is our cardio equipment that we used. So we used a company for our cardio, and we've decided now to remove those cardio equipment and go full Concept 2 across the board. So we've already made those changes. I'm sure lots of people had probably questioned why we didn't do that in the first place, but that's fine. We are there now. But the other one, which is sort of the biggest for us, is that we had a timing issue. The chip timing company lost connectivity on the day, which meant we had people who legitimately finished the line, crossed the line, didn't know their times, had DNF. We had people who were announced winners when they weren't. We had, obviously, the flip side to that, people who were announced not winners and they were. So it was a pretty poor experience for our participants, and I can sit here and say it was a bad experience for us. Yes, we did work pretty much 24/7 for the next week to 2 weeks afterwards, trying to resolve those problems. But it's the participants who really got the brunt of it. It wasn't us. So yeah, that was not a good experience at all.
I think that is not you alone. I've been to, obviously not naming any names, but now a few fitness events where that has happened, including some of the biggest. So it's like when it's your second race, isn't it? So I mean, for that to be a factor when it is the factor with races that have been going on for years now, it doesn't seem to be an easy thing to organize and to keep consistent. I mean, even I've got a 19-second lunge time in High Rocks, for example. I mean, that's just one of them. Like, it's not just the smaller races like you guys, when you compare yourselves to High Rocks, that have that issue. For some reason, timing seems to be quite an intricate concept. Well, I can imagine it's intricate because I don't understand the first thing about it. But it's, issues have cropped up in quite a few places with it.
Yeah, dare I say, it's good to have this problem now, being our third race, that we've put in processes to ensure it will never happen again in the same way. So one is we have a backup, we have a second backup, and we have a third, and we have on-site presence, and we have processes and protocols to follow. So as I said, we announced winners when we were unsure whether they were. So if we do have such a catastrophic issue, we will ensure that we're not podium people or podium the wrong people for whatever reason. I'm upset and disappointed that it happened, but it has allowed us to ensure that we just won't have those sort of problems again. When we were transparent with our participants, we sent messages and comms to say we're having issues. We sent round an apology email to everyone, explained the problems that we had, included the cardio. And there was a third problem that we had as well. Our run route wasn't quite 500 meters. When the individuals measured the route, unfortunately, they got it wrong, which meant so everyone did something like 410 meters as opposed to 500, which of course then skewed up everyone's time. So it was kind of a level playing field in that way. But we've coupled with the fact of we had some people doing the bike erg and row erg within like a minute because the timings are wrong. And the individuals were saying, no, I definitely did that time, or I definitely did that full distance. And of course they did, but they didn't do it in that time because, you're talking almost world record times at that point. Coupled with that, and then the run route issue, it just wasn't a good thing. But again, we are third event in, and we're putting processes in place, and it's making us think about all of the other issues that could potentially crop up, like check, double check, get someone else to check as well. Like I say, that I feel bad almost saying that because the people on the day didn't get their times when they should have done. That was a poor experience for them, but we'll ensure that it doesn't happen again, and it makes us better and more robust for future events.
That's good ownership. That was one of the things that people look for in events. Is it's sometimes hard if something goes wrong on the day to sort of admit it to the community at that point, and then being able to do that and then say, this is exactly what we're going to do moving forward. It's the hardest part, but also I think it's what keeps people involved in the sport. Whereas if nothing went out, no one would be interested in coming again. If that went wrong for them and no one was doing anything about it, I think that would put so many people off. But the retention part is huge to be able to sort of show them the plan moving forward with that.
Yeah, so I approach FlatOut as a participant as well. So I want to go to an event, whether it's FlatOut, HYROX, whatever event it is, and have a really good experience. Even going to the cinema, these are the types of things that I would expect to see. So, we put in food trucks, stalls, for participants to come along and, experience for the spectators as well. We think about it from the spectator point of view, what they would like to see and what they would like to have. So we do put in a lot of thought to that. Even with the stalls, for instance, we will often invite stalls that aren't immediately related to fitness, but that captures that audience, mainly just because it's something to look at whilst you're there. You don't always just want to rock up, do your event and then go. And actually on a sort of a good bad problem we had, a lot of our participants had so much fun. We kind of anticipated that they would turn up an hour before, do the format, which takes approximately an hour, and then leave shortly afterwards. Actually, a lot of people stayed for the day and enjoyed themselves, which is great. But it then caused us to have flow issues, and almost got to a point where we had to sort of start thinking about not too bad, but hey, we're actually looking really busy now. So, is there ways to reduce that flow a little bit? But fortunately, it sort of just leveled itself out. We did have some processes ready for it just in case, but these are good problems to have, I'd say. So it was nice.
And so with all of those changes coming down, is that's all being lined up in time for your next event, right? Which is Ipswich in June?
Correct. Yeah, 13th of June at Trinity Park in Ipswich. I'm really excited by the layout of what we have, because they have this event centre there. We actually start the race outside of the event centre. They run through the middle of the event centre. the run route is outside. Most of the fitness is inside, with exception of farmer carry and ground to overhead. And the run finish brings you back to the start line. So it's that immersive experience, and that start finish line is where all of the stalls are as well. So you immediately come back into where you started, which from a flow perspective works really well for a participant. Also, we have live DJs there. We have ice cream vans. We're going to have some really cool stuff there. So, that it then keeps people together. And, a lot of people say about our vibe that we have with FlatOut. Again, it's not something that we try and advertise too much. It just happens because we have we have gyms present who own the zones, who make it a friendly competition and a friendly experience. And that just then rolls down to our participants who just enjoy the day. So yeah, I'm really excited for Ipswich, really excited.
And it is, you mentioned after we'd spoken, we put out the podcast the other week with Race Durare, and we'd spoken to Metrics before. So both of those races are using Revelate AI systems for their movement standards. And you mentioned that's something you're getting into or already partially in implementing. Where are you at with that?
Yeah, so I've spoken to Chris a few times. He's a really good guy, and really excited by the technology that they've got. I think, as we talked about with our format, because we want to keep the visual, they will struggle to keep the standard along with the lines that we have. But for Goblet Squat, what we are doing in Ipswich, we're going to keep our same format as we have right now, but we are going to have the tablets there present with the software to trial. I think it would be too much, bearing in mind coming off some of the issues that we've seen. Don't want to do too many changes too soon. We'll stick with our format. We'll have our tablets there just to trial to see how that works out. But yeah, that's something that we're looking to implement into our future races.
What did the participation numbers look like from your first event to, I guess, the one you just had, to what you're hoping for or looking for in Ipswich?
Yeah, so our very first event, we had 420 odd people who turned up. We had 600 for our October at the Rose Lane multi-story, and for Saxon, it was probably more like 800 who turned up. For Ipswich, we're not expecting those kind of numbers. We're kind of hoping and expecting to get between 400 and 500. But I think for me, it's because we're new there.
So I imagine a number of people listening to this will obviously be aware of the World Championships for High Rocks being around that same time. Was that date in your head at all when you came up with June?
Yeah, so I would say FlatOut is a similar but different experience to High Rocks. We are not out for High Rocks at all. We see ourselves as a similar event. I recognise that there's plenty of space in the market for this type of event. And I would almost go so far to say, if High Rocks or if FlatOut in a few years' time did an event in Ipswich or Norwich or London every month, it would sell out every time, because people just enjoy doing this type of activity. As I say, we're not out for High Rocks. We would love to sit alongside them as a different offering. But we're not going to go out for High Rocks. That just seems not the right thing to do.
And that does seem to be kind of the market movement in the UK, at least right now, is for. So as much as High Rocks like to say it's an accessible event, multiple people we've spoken to said, well, I pointed out that it kind of isn't. And in order to be quite bad at High Rocks, you still have to be very fit. Other people are saying, we're not going for the people who are already very fit, and even better than that, we're going for anyone who wants to do a sustained effort for 45 minutes to an hour and a half and provide them kind of a route for entry, not as well as for the more pro/elite orientated. So reducing the length of the effort, which is what you've done, and people like Race Durare and other events are doing, that seems to be very much the way that the UK has gone, is a number of folks like yourself saying, well, number one, we need to go to the regions because big city stuff is fantastic and we want to do more of that. And Not everyone can be going to the big cities all the time. So that's how you've started. But we'll talk in a second about what other plans you've got. But also, as you say, having races that are more accessible and distances that make more sense for people.
Because that's the thing. Although everyone can run, everyone can ski, everyone can row, everyone can lunge. Most people can. It's the time domain of Hyrox, which it demands. Obviously, the less fit you are, the longer it takes, and so ultimately, the more time on feet it takes. So you're racing twice as long as the people who are twice as fit as you. So I think, exactly, that sort of plays into the 500-meter runs that you offer and the shorter and sort of shorter race domain as a whole.
Yeah, we've had a couple of people who are signed up for Ipswich to say that they are actually going over to Stockholm, and then using this as almost like a taper run, which is fine. But as I say, we're not trying to compete with Hyrox. We're not trying to take any of their people. But the people who do Hyrox will probably come along naturally anyway. I don't think we would try and do a similar date to Hyrox in the same location, i.e. like a London, and they would be the next weekend or something like that. We would avoid that. But, again, I think Athex and Hyrox both did Paris fairly recently, and they both sold out. And that just shows how people want to, like what people want to do in terms of fitness. So, that just goes to show that the demand is there and people want to do this.
And you pointed that out earlier in the conversation that at the moment we're still kind of heading in a steep upward curve of participation in the UK, and the three things that are missing from Hyrox are ease of entry in terms of tickets, ease of entry in terms of can you do it in a way that's not demoralising, because again to what both of you said before, for lower levels of fitness, people coming in or lack of experience coming in, but also the other thing. The further up you go, at Jude's level, you kind of you look at your calendar and go, "This is my A race," which means that I will slow down my training effort. I will taper for this event, and then he'll have B and C races where he'll say, "Oh, I'm going to race this. I'm just not going to taper ahead of it." So there might be a major Hyrox race that a bunch of elite level athletes want to do, but then also you wouldn't exist merely as a warm-up for that. You'd be another race that these people want to do. It's just that being a shorter race, there's no need to taper for it, for example. You actually got a broader spectrum of appeal than someone like Hyrox does.
That's right. And for Saxon, we trialled our next gen, which we're now releasing for Ipswich, which is our junior category. So we're going to have the same format in terms of the exercises, or very similar. Obviously, the weights are a lot less and the distance is less. But we have categories for 8 to 10-year-olds, 9 to 11, and 13 to 15, which it's really cool. So we did the trial at Saxon. We invited a bunch of kids to come along. We actually had to start closing off the doors because there were so many people who wanted to do it, and all of the kids loved it. There was I distinctly remember like having all the kids were lining up. We actually gave free T-shirts to just come along as well to have the experience, and they just loved it. It was really cool to see, and that's what we're rolling out for Ipswich. Looking forward to seeing the next gen go at it as well.
And what did you say the age range for the young guys was?
It's 8 to 10, 11 to 13, 14 to 15. Right. As I say, the format is the same, but for the 8 to 10-year-olds, some of them struggle to reach the pedals on the bike. So we've replaced that with duck walk and bear crawl, just to, again, to make it something that they can easily pick up, easily do. A lot less running. It's like 200 meters on the ski for 8 to 10-year-olds. 300 for the 11 13s, and 500, and that sort of distance then rolls out for the rest of the cardio. Originally, we didn't have the ground to overhead. We had something different, and all the kids said, "No, we want to do the ground to overhead. That's what the adults do. We want to do that." So we've then implemented that. We've got the equipment for it, and they're only 2 and 5 kilos.
Awesome. And then, so you've got Norwich in April, you've got Ipswich in June. What plans you got for the rest of the year?
Well, So we've put a teaser for later in the year, and some of our astute followers have already identified exactly where we're going, because there was one image that we put in. We're going to go to Old Billingsgate Market in London, and a lot of people may have heard of Billingsgate Market. It's not that place. This is the Old Billingsgate Market off the Liverpool Street line. Take 10-minute walk down towards the Thames, and Old Billingsgate Market is just there. Immediately in front of you is the Shard, and then to your left is Tower Bridge. And I will challenge anyone to find a more iconic, better venue than Old Billingsgate Market in London. We could go to Excel, and no disrespect to Excel, but I do find it really soulless. And I think I said to you before that, we went to Las Vegas to try out High Rocks in Vegas. Vegas is probably the most exciting place in the world. We went into Mandalay Bay. We went through the conference room doors, the doors shut, and we could have been anywhere. We could have been anywhere in the world. And it feels like you lost the immersive experience. So it all just fits into kind of where we want to be as an organization. Really cool venues, really nice people around, and it's going to be awesome. It's going to be so good.
And what's the date for that?
Well, we haven't published that yet, but again, some people are quite clever and probably worked it all out already. But we are doing a 3-day event, and it will be Friday the 24th, Saturday the 25th, and Sunday the 26th of September. Sorry.
September 24th, 25th September. Okay, brilliant.
And do you anticipate the sort of, in the terms of the structure of the event itself, is it a huge arena where you'd have, or like a bigger arena where you'd have one lap for the 500, or are you having 2 laps, 3 laps? What's sort of the internal format of it?
So because we're 500 meters, we need to measure it all out. We've got some provisional plans. I would like to try and keep it to 1 lap if possible. I don't want it to be more than 2 laps. Bearing in mind with our structure, everything is 2, then move forward. It sort of suggests that I can't count more than 2. So I think it's a challenge. So I think it can't be 3 laps, because that just ruins the fun and the experience. So we are going to keep it to 2 laps.
Yeah, when we spoke to the urban race, where was the urban race you competed at? Peckham. So Jude did the urban race in Peckham, which I think was their first event. And the way when we were chatting to those guys the other week, they described watching Jude as watching a cat running around a dining room table.
It was, yeah, the laps were the shortest I'd ever done, but it was a lot of fun. It was just a very new experience.
I think we're actually a mix, part of both, because the format of the layout that we're putting forward, there are some tight corners, but we are coming outside of the building onto the main part of the Thames. So you will see the Shard, you will see Tower Bridge as part of your run route.
Some of that race photography would be absolutely epic, having the Shard behind you as you're running.
Yeah, some of our videographer has already mentioned that once or twice.
That would be amazing. Yeah, brilliant.
Nice.
And when did tickets go on sale for that, Adam?
So we're going to put them on sale after June, after our Ipswich event. We are going to introduce another category to that. So I've already talked to you about the pros, the open, the doubles, the relay. So for Ipswich, we're going to introduce the junior event, which is next gen. But for London, we're going to release our sidekicks, which is going to be a adult and junior format. The intention there is father and son, grandma, grandson, that kind of experience. Whoever, older brother, younger sibling, that kind of thing. Whoever it is, get them to do that format together. It will be, how we'll do it is that we'll have the adult format, so 1.2 ski, but with the junior doing, say, 200 meters. If you're 8 to 10, then the adult will then need to do the kilometer to finish. They'll both need to do the farmer carries together, and they'll split up the ground to overhead and the like. But yeah, that is a category that I'm really excited for. I think that'll do really well.
If the child is 2 to 3 times better than the parent, can you swap the roles around so I can do the 200 meters and he can do the 1200?
I don't think I'd count as the child in that circumstance.
Yeah. I don't know you very well, Jude, but I think you might be a bit older than 15.
No, I'm the child. I look like I'm not much capable of more than 200 meters. And
I think we'll be asking for date of births on this one. But yeah, I mean, the idea with this category is again to make it really inclusive. And I think we said my 8-year-old son, he loved doing next gen. He talks about it a lot. He loves it. And some of the other kids and children who are involved, they really enjoyed it. Their parents were there, and we saw them the next day doing the actual FlatOut event. So it's just a really nice thing to kind of being able to offer that to people to do it together. And it might be that it's people who are fit or into fitness, or it might be just that extra push that you need to get into fitness to say, like my son or daughter is doing it, so therefore I need to work hard and inspire them to do it, or vice versa as well. So yeah, we're excited by that as well.
So I was chatting with my dad, 76 in the summer, and I was chatting with him and Jude about maybe trying to do a Hyrox doubles with him, which might be a bit of a stretch. So maybe I should try and convince Grandad to come with me and do FlatOut doubles.
Be a lot more realistic, sense, right? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll see if you come along. Yeah, we'd love to. Like I said, with a combined age of 128, I think me and my dad should do the doubles with you.
Yeah, brilliant. We've got a gentleman coming who's 74 to Ipswich, and I think maybe our eldest competitor so far. So it'd be nice to see your dad come along as well to bring up that the age.
Beat that.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, I'll see if I can get him along, because he's been stupidly fit for 40 years, but he's not quite as young as he was 40 years ago. So we'll see.
Yeah, this event would do well, I reckon.
Yeah. Let's try and do that. All right. Awesome. Is there anything else specific you want to cover?
We didn't want to ask you guys to come along to our event, but you've offered yourself already, which is even better. So when the tickets go on sale, I do expect to see you as doubles and pro, Jude. So
that'd be cool. I've never run with the weight. I'm excited to see what that's like.
Yeah, if you won't let me be his sidekick, then yeah, he'll have to go pro. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, nice to see you guys, and thanks for listening to me through the Poor Network.
No, thanks very much for your time, man. I really appreciate it, and excited to see that the AI developments, the category developments, and the venue developments. It all looks like it's shaping up really well for you guys for the rest of the year. I appreciate your openness and telling us about how things are being fixed from what happened before. So, really good conversation. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, great. Well, good to see you. Thanks. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Adam. Speak to you soon.
Yeah. Cheers, guys. Thanks for that.